Hi, I'm Candace, the artist behind Northernly Lit Artistry, where I illuminate the beauty of the Canadian wilderness through fine art. Today I'll be answering questions from other artists. Today's question, how do I paint highlights and shadows? So today I'm going to talk about color theory and how I use it to give objects dimensions and depth. Let me start off by saying that there is no wrong way to do this. However you have achieved the effect that you want is the right way to do it. I'm going to show you how to use the color wheel and your grayscale. So let's go find them and we'll get started. Now, remember, shadows are not black. Most of the time, they're not black at all. So this is how we're going to use the color wheel to find out what colors our shadows are going to be. So we're going to be using lemon yellow, cobalt violet hue to give us our shadow. We're going to use cobalt blue, cadmium orange to get our shadow on the blue. And we're going to use cadmium red, viridian green hue to get our shadow on the red. I'm also going to be showing you the difference between using our colors or using an underpainting done in a grayscale. So let's get started painting. First, we're going to start with our yellow. So we'll take our yellow brush here and we'll start painting our circle. Now remember, the highlights are not always white either. Highlights are depending on what color the light is. So if we're painting a sunset, for instance, our sunset is going to be warm. So the reflections are also going to be warm and the color of the sunset. Okay, so here we've got our base yellow. We're going to add a little bit of white up into the highlight. We're going to assume that our light source is white. I painted in the wrong direction. We'll fix that. So here's our highlight. Fix this up here. Okay, so to get our shadow, we're going to take our cobalt purple hue. Now, we're going to talk about our core shadow. Our core shadow is the place where the light doesn't reach anymore and the object has joined the dark side. So, we're going to put our deepest shadow down here and slowly work our way back up. We'll just add a little bit more white up into our highlight up there. Blend it down a bit more. And there we go. A very natural looking shadow using colors. Let's move on to red. We'll start here with our cadmium red hue. Okay, we've got our circle. We'll put in our highlight up top. And we'll blend this after. Okay, so in order to get our shadow on our red sphere, we're going to use viridian green. We're using the complementary colors on the color wheel here. So the opposite of green is red, and it's going to give us a nice natural shadow. Okay, now let's start blending in our highlight. And there we go. Very natural looking shadow. Let's move on to blue. we'll take our, what do we got? Cobalt blue hue. And we'll make our blue sphere. Also remember your color bias. If you want a warm shadow, you're going to need to use the complementary color that has a warm undertone to it. If you're going for cooler shadows, use the complementary color that has the cooler shadows, the cooler shades. Okay. We'll get our highlight put in up top. There's our highlight spot. Now we're going to do the shadow. We're going to use orange, cadmium orange hue. Over to the dark side, the core shadow. And this is giving us a nice, realistic, natural shadow to that blue ball. We'll blend in our highlight now. And there you are. Now, I'm going to show you the same effect you can get using an underpainting. This underpainting was done with Liquitex Basics. And what I'm using for glazing here is linseed oil. I usually use liquid, but I don't have very much right now. So linseed oil it is. What I do when I'm making a glaze is I'm thinning out my paint a lot. Here's the oil paint mixed with just a little bit of linseed oil, and here it is. You can see how runny that is, mixed with even more so that we can get a glaze out of it. So let's glaze over top of our yellow sphere. We just want to put the color everywhere. And there you go. So this way, you've used your grayscale to find your values. Let's do the red sphere. Same effect, different application. And now we'll do the blue. And there you go. There is no wrong way, as long as you're achieving the effect you want. So this is how we're doing it with the underpainting. This is how we're doing it just using color theory. Now, when we're talking about reflections, our reflections are going to depend on how smooth or rough our object is. These spheres are pretty smooth and glossy, so they're going to have a lot of reflecting light. So those highlights are going to be very noticeable. If you've got, say, something that's rougher, that rough texture is going to be absorbing a lot of the light and isn't going to be putting off a lot of reflections. The object will still have highlights, just not so many reflections. I hope this video helped you out and answered your questions. If you have any other questions, please put them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to help. If you'd like to check out more of my videos or my work, go on over to my Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Northern Artistry and see more upcoming videos. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.